You may not notice it happening, but every time you reach for your phone, check a notification, scroll endlessly, or reach for another treat, there's a chemical quietly guiding your behavior. Dopamine. It's the neurotransmitter of wanting, of craving, of anticipation. At its core, dopamine is not about pleasure. It's about pursuit. And in a world built on endless access, instant gratification, and digital highs that never stop refreshing, our brains have been caught in a trap. For most of human history, dopamine helped us survive. It drove us to find food, seek shelter, form relationships. But now, it's pushing us toward things we don't really need. Because the modern world isn't just overstimulating, it's supernormal. Everything is exaggerated. Saltier, sweeter, louder, faster, and our brains can't tell the difference between survival and seduction anymore. We chase likes as if they were lifelines. We binge content as if it were water. But the truth is, the more dopamine we trigger, the less satisfied we feel. The scale tilts, the baseline shifts, and soon we're not chasing joy, we're just chasing relief. What this book reveals is that the same neurochemical that helped us evolve is now making us feel overwhelmed, distracted, and strangely numb. This isn't a book about addiction in the traditional sense. It's a book about you, about your brain, about the subtle compulsions you no longer notice, and about how you can gently take back control, not by cutting yourself off from the world, but by learning how to live inside it without being consumed by it. The way forward isn't silence or withdrawal, it's awareness. And that starts here, in this quiet moment, with a breath and a willingness to ask, what am I chasing and why? Imagine your brain as a scale. On one side, pleasure. On the other, pain. Every time you do something that spikes dopamine, scrolling, shopping, watching, eating, the scale tips toward pleasure. But the body, always seeking balance, compensates. The brain pushes back, releasing pain, not emotional pain at first, chemical pain. And the more you chase the high, the more the brain pushes back. Over time, this system becomes desensitized. What once gave you joy now gives you nothing. So you increase the dose. You stay up later, you click longer, you reach further, and before long, the brain stops letting you feel normal unless you're overstimulated. That's when life gets quiet and nothing feels right. And it's not just you, it's everywhere. The man who can't stop checking his stocks, the woman who eats alone in her car so no one sees, the teen who wakes up at 2 a.m. to answer notifications because silence feels unbearable. These aren't bad people. These are people lost in the cycle of overindulgence, not because they're weak, but because they're human. And dopamine isn't evil. It's ancient. But it was built for a world of scarcity, not a world of abundance. The solution isn't to eliminate pleasure. It's to restore the balance, to reintroduce friction where things have become too smooth. That's what abstinence is about. Not punishment, but pause. A moment to let the brain recalibrate, to let the scale settle again. It's not easy. For many, the first few days of letting go of porn, sugar, gambling, or even just scrolling can feel like withdrawal, restlessness, anxiety, even depression. But slowly, something returns: color, clarity, presence, the ability to feel simple things again, a meal, a walk, a conversation. These stories aren't theoretical. They're real people who've reset their brains, not by quitting life, but by reconnecting with it. You can't fast forward healing, but you can slow down long enough to let it begin. And sometimes that begins by asking one simple question: what am I willing to feel instead of avoid? In the modern world, pain is not allowed. Boredom is treated like failure, and silence is almost forbidden. So instead, we flood every gap with something: entertainment, noise, screens, sugar, distraction. We've created an environment that is perfectly designed to overstimulate our brains at all times. And while we often hear about substance addiction, what's even more common and more invisible is the compulsive relationship we have with behaviors. Refreshing a feed, checking a notification, watching one more video. We don't need a dealer. We need a Wi-Fi signal. That's the core of behavioral addiction. No substance required, just repetition, reinforcement, and reward. But the good news is this: our brains are neuroplastic. They can change, and that change begins with radical honesty. Not the dramatic kind, not shouting confessions, but quiet, sustained truth-telling. Admitting when we're using distractions to escape. Recognizing when our habits are shaping our identity instead of supporting it. Many people feel trapped not because of their choices, but because of their silence. That's why honesty is its own medicine. When we speak our truth, even if just to ourselves, we begin to dissolve the illusion that we're in control when we're really not. And from that honesty, we build something else. Boundaries. Self-binding, not self-punishment. This means designing your environment to protect your attention. Maybe that looks like deleting an app, or leaving the phone in another room, or choosing one TV episode instead of 5. Boundaries aren't restrictions, they're freedom. Freedom from constant craving. Freedom to reclaim your attention. Because willpower is weak when the cue is strong. But a life with boundaries builds itself. The goal isn't to deny joy. It's to relearn what joy really is. It's not that high after a binge. It's the quiet satisfaction after restraint. The peace that comes not from having more, but from needing less. It's realizing that the highest dopamine hit of all is clarity. There's a strange truth about the human brain. Sometimes pleasure is restored not by more pleasure, but by choosing pain. Not suffering, not punishment, but discomfort. Cold showers, long runs, silence, eye contact, a difficult conversation. These small doses of controlled pain trigger a healing response. The brain begins to rebalance. Dopamine sensitivity is restored. We begin to feel again, subtly, deeply. And through that process, something else begins to emerge: meaning. Because when we stop chasing constant relief, we begin to see that fulfillment isn't found in the peak. It's found in the process. It's found in showing up for your life as it is, not as you wish it would be. In choosing presence over distraction, intention over impulse. And over time, we stop asking, what feels good right now? And start asking, what builds a better tomorrow? That's the hidden power of this book. Not that it teaches you how to escape the world, but how to live fully inside it. How to feel joy again. How to sit with discomfort, how to choose rest over sedation, and most importantly, how to remember that you are not broken, you are overstimulated. And healing is not an act of discipline, it's an act of kindness. The world will continue to offer you more, faster, louder. But your life doesn't need to move at that pace. You can step back, you can pause, you can feel again. That pause right now is where peace lives. And as you rest tonight, let this idea settle softly into your body. The path to balance isn't about doing more. It's about needing less. And choosing presence, again and again, until it becomes your new default. Let your thoughts slow down. Let your breath deepen. Let the chase end here. And ease into stillness, quietly, gently, just as you are.